Welcome to Sugar-Coated Murder Podcast, a brilliant true crime podcast hosted by two zany sisters, all while baking up delicious treats in their kitchen. Here are your podcast hosts, Karen Devaney and Ann Varner.
You did it.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Oh my gosh. Long
Uh-oh.
Let me start over. Long time no see.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute because the last time that we tried to record this very episode, we did it in complete silence. Just one of our many new talents that we've discovered about ourselves lately.
If you need information or instructions on how to
do that,
podcast in
please let
silence,
us
please
know.
let us know. We'd be happy to help.
Happy to help. Yeah. So we've made a silent film, but it turned out to be kind of boring. So we decided not to put it out because we just want to bore people. And now we finally got around to doing it again after a month.
I know, my goodness.
But we've been busy, guys. We're working hard behind the scenes. We've got our cookbook that is so close, and yet so far. We keep thinking we're so close, and then we're not close.
Of course.
Anyway, that's okay. We're still having fun, right?
Yes.
We're having fun.
Yes.
That's all that matters, right?
We're having
And
fun.
so far, we're not in jail. Things are good.
I mean, knock on
That's not even going to help.
knock on wood.
This is some kind of wood.
Knock on wood. We don't want to go to jail. I don't want to.
I don't want to.
No.
I don't look good. Right?
What are 3 things you learned last week?
Lori Vallow is not an attorney.
Oh no! Has anybody been watching that? That's on court TV right now.
That's a complete show if I've ever seen one.
I mean, she's doing pretty good,
She's doing some good stuff.
but she does let her personal feelings towards
She
people
does
maybe
a little
get
bit.
a little
She
bit.
gets that. She gets a little bit there, and she gets a little flustered when the judge sustains the objections of the prosecutor, who, by the way, the prosecutor is an attorney and a seasoned attorney, and knows what she's doing and knows the loopholes and the intricacies, and those are the things that jailhouse self-taught attorneys, they don't know.
They don't know that.
They don't know.
No.
So, but
And when there's a witness on the stand and she's ready for them to be done, she's like, "Okay, that's enough.
yeah, yeah. Even if they're in mid-sentence,
That's enough.
That's enough.
Don't
No
hear
more, we
anymore.
don't want to hear any more from you.
The end."
You're dismissed. Goodbye. So yeah, that part I did learn. I learned that. I learned that I'm gonna give you something.
Okay.
I learned that when doing a cookbook, what you see on the screen is not necessarily what's gonna look like in the book.
Yeah, we've gotten to the point where we were able to upload our cookbook onto the site for publishing, but instead of publishing it, we ordered a proof.
Thank God.
Thank goodness we did, because it came out and it was like giant.
It looked like a
It was
coloring
like
book,
a coloring book.
like an adult coloring book.
Yeah, which isn't bad.
I mean,
guess.
that's
It's not-
fine, but that's not what it says it is.
Right.
It definitely says cookbook, not coloring book. It was just too big for a cookbook. For us, it was just a little too big. So we've had to change the size, which affects all of the margins, and it affects the fonts and the font sizes and the graphics and the page numbers and everything.
everything.
Every single page was affected by this change.
But this is all good practice, because
Oh my
the
God.
next time we want to do a cookbook, or if we
Yeah.
have somebody else that wants to do a cookbook and they need advice, we are going to be
Yes.
professional.
We're going to be so good at it. We will be able to do other people's cookbooks for them
100%.
for a fee.
A big fee, because it is, we could have written 5 books
It
by
is
now.
so much more work than I ever thought it would be.
It's a lot more,
It's
I think
not
it's more
just
work than
about
writing.
it's huge. It's hugely more.
hugely.
Yes, hugely more. And I mean, I feel like it just never ends.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's more than just slapping some recipes on a page and calling it a day.
Mm.
So that's number 2. That's what I learned. Number 2.
You learned number 2.
I learned number
Good
2.
job. Wow.
And then I've got one more thing. I've got a third thing.
Let's see. The wheels are turning.
right, here's something that's profound. It's a little bit serious. Just give me some wiggle room on this.
Okay.
What I've learned is something that we need to teach our children.
Okay.
When you're a child and an adult breaks the rules no longer apply to you. So that's what we need to teach our kids. When you have an adult that goes and tries to take advantage of a young person,
Yes.
they've broken the rules.
Right.
Now the rules don't apply to you anymore either. So you get to scream, yell, scratch, fight with everything you have, mark them up, tell everybody, immediately scream it to the rafters, know that they're lying. If they broke the rules, then they're going to lie too, because they think the rules don't apply to them.
Right.
And so then you get to do all of those things. You get to scream and yell and tell. And like I said, fight back, leave a mark. Don't be quiet. Don't keep their secret. And that's what we need to start telling our kids.
Yeah.
That's what we need to start telling our kids. So that's something else.
I think that's a great thing to teach our kids.
So
our kids are maybe a little older.
No, I'm saying we need to start this in preschool.
Yeah, that needs to be something that the children are taught.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because
there are predators out
plenty
there,
of child
and
predators.
they bank on kids that follow the rules.
100%.
100%. So, and that's what we need to go back and start teaching our kids. Like today,
I have to say, you got a lot smarter last week.
I feel like I got a lot smarter.
Way to go.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, your turn.
Okay. 3 things I learned last week. I'm tired of doing 5 bullet points every week. I'll leave it at that. Tired of my 5 bullet points.
Can they not be the same bullet points every week?
I don't put the same 5 bullet points every week. I think that would, if somebody eventually read them, I'd worry. Even though I kind of do the same 5 things every week, I try to switch them up.
It may not be the same, but like if you're doing testing every week, but you might test this instead of that. Well, it's still a bullet point that you can just change the last word.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think though that I do bi-weekly reports for my supervisor who I report to. I don't feel like I need to send 5 bullet points out into Never Land for no reason. I'm ready for it to stop. It was all fun and games in the beginning, but now it's enough.
All right.
That's what I learned last week. I'm tired. I learned that about myself.
Okay. That's one thing.
I learned that the Blue Ridge Mountains are beautiful.
They are gorgeous.
I haven't been to the Blue Ridge Mountains in forever. And we had a loved one pass away who we will miss dearly, who, by the way, was a huge fan of our podcast.
We will miss her.
A greatest cheerleader for both of us. Anytime we ever talked to her, she just was so sweet and supportive of everything that we do.
Yeah.
And we are going to miss Jen dearly.
Yes.
And
Jen.
I had the opportunity to go up to the Blue Ridge Mountains for her graveside service, and it was breathtaking. I had forgotten just how completely beautiful those mountains are. They really are blue. And there are all these gorgeous purple flowers along. I'm not even sure what the trees were. But just purple flowers and the Blue Ridge Mountains. Another
mountains
majesty. Yeah, I think that's where that comes from.
If not, it is now.
Yeah. Let's see.
Number 3.
I think it was more self-discovery for me last week than it was anything else, because I also learned that I am still deathly afraid of driving on roads that have drop-offs on either side.
Yeah, we need some guardrails.
So I need more than a guardrail.
You need I
need the ground. That's what I need. I think. Yeah, or a barrier,
that's
some
what
big
I'm thinking,
barrier,
like a wall.
Like for sure, you're not gonna.
We've got you.
We've got you. The road's not going to tumble,
this.
and you're not going down to the bottom of that mountain. I need something, a little, some
cement barriers,
like a reassurance. Yeah. And though I know nobody in the history of that road has fallen off that road because. Well, let me finish. because the road crumbled, I still will. And
Of course.
I find that to be,
Listen, if it happens, you could be the first one.
I don't want to be the first.
You don't want that.
That was on, so that's on, I think it's on 64.
That makes sense.
Going like past Charlottesville up to Buena Vista, Virginia. And you're going along the road and you're going up Afton Mountain. And you don't even realize that you're going. And then all of a sudden you realize, holy crap, I'm at the top of the mountain because your ears are popping. Mm. And then everything disappears and it's just this road and all these cars going 75, 80 miles an hour. And I was in a funeral procession, so I'm trying to stay behind everybody. And of course, there are wild people on the road that don't recognize that you're in a funeral. There are cars with their lights on following a hearse.
I know, but
up a mountain.
Everybody has day running lights now, so how can you tell the difference?
Very true. We should have had our hazards.
I think the hazards would have been better.
Yeah.
Because then it would have been like, oh, they all have their hazards on. There must be something going on.
Right.
But if you just got your lights on, my car, the lights come on every time I turn it on.
Yeah.
So that means I'm in a funeral procession every day.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, and the gentleman driving the hearse was pedal to the metal.
He was not.
He was like,
so we're on a schedule.
Yeah. It turned out that they stopped working, I think, at 3.
Yeah.
And we were like, gotta go. It was almost 2:00 and it was
zippity-doo.
Yeah. I was like, why are we going so fast? There's no road. The guardrails are going. Can we slow down just one minute? And then that road, there's mountain, like once you get past the valley, being able to look down, you come and you're at the top of the mountain, so it's more mountain, but it's all rock at the top.
Oh yeah.
So you've got these big signs that say "Look out for falling rocks," and I'm like, how do you look out when you're going 80 miles an hour?
And I'm supposed to keep my eyes on the road.
They say keep on the road. Like rocks.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I don't enjoy that.
It doesn't seem like that. As much as you like the Blue Ridge Mountains, getting to them, it seems treacherous for you.
Yeah, I like to look at them. They're very pretty. I don't necessarily want to drive off.
You don't want to?
No.
Okay.
Well,
no.
Because then guess what? I had to come down them. Then I had
it's
to come
tricky.
down. And that was just as bad coming down, because again, you just get to this spot and there's just drop. It's just drop off. Woo! I get a little
yeah, you get a little flushed. You don't want
even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Those are the three things I learned about myself.
There you go. Look at us. We always learning things.
Oh, we get smarter. And the more you know about yourself,
well, you
the
know,
more
the
capable
says,
you
the
are.
more you know, the more you know.
The more you know. All right. Well, we're smart, and we have a podcast.
We're on it right now.
That we do sometimes.
Sometimes.
And it's not about learning things. It's about murder.
It's about murder.
And baking.
I'm going to bake today.
Fern's baking.
Yeah. And I will tell you what I'm baking. I'm baking low sugar. I know. Yum already. Sweet potato bread. And I'll at the end of this, I'll show the magazine so that people can try to find it maybe online or whatever. It's been a couple months, I think, since I picked it up, but maybe it stays out. I don't know, because sometimes it'll say keep this out till blah blah blah.
Oh, I see what
on
you're
the
saying.
cover. So I'll look, but
we don't know when the blah 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 was. But we will check the blah blah blah.
So it's a Better Homes and Garden low sugar recipe edition.
Oh wow!
And
fancy.
Everything in there, but it talks about using other flavors besides sugar to heighten your taste experience so that you don't miss the sugar.
Right.
So this sweet potato bread, of course, you use mashed sweet potatoes, but you use pumpkin pie spice in it. So that gives you like your warm spices. And I was supposed to use 1.5 teaspoons. I might have used closer to 2. Okay. That's just because I like that.
That's how you roll.
That's how I roll.
Yeah.
But it's only 1/4 cup of sugar in the whole entire recipe.
Okay.
So, but I've got my ingredients mixed, and now I have to fold them together and fold in my nuts and pour it in the pan and put it in the oven. And
did you toast your nuts?
I already toasted them.
Oh, good
job. I toasted and chopped them before I
toast your nuts, people. We can't see it enough.
We cannot say it enough. There is no saying toast your nuts enough. There's no such thing.
No.
like even right now, if it was scrolling at the bottom of the screen,
Toast your nuts.
Toast your nuts. Still not enough.
No,
Not enough.
we could maybe hold signs up. You know, I see a lot of people holding. Today I saw a man standing in the middle of the road holding up a Jesus is coming sign. So we could make signs that say "Toast your nut"
And just stand down the middle of the road.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a public service announcement that needs to be taken care of.
we'll look into that. I don't know
Yeah.
if you have to have a license to do that or not, but okay, good.
I
Well,
feel like you could just stand on the
if you
corner.
live in the Charleston area, you may just see Karen and I out one
Yeah.
day with signs that say "Toast your
Toast
nut."
your nuts.
Yes.
Seriously.
Honk if you toast your nut.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go do all that while you talk to me about a million.
I'm going to talk to you about a murder.
Okay.
But I was also just thinking about what it would take for us to do the signs on the road. And then I just my son, no, courage, the courage it would take.
if we had a designated driver, not a problem.
Not a designated driver and maybe some bourbon.
Oh yeah, that's why we need the DD.
The DD, yeah.
Because we need some BB.
The BB, yeah.
It's a bourbon.
Bourbon. Got the BB, the bourbon.
So anyway, I'm gonna
Go do your thing. I'm gonna talk
hoist
about
myself out of this chair and walk over to the kitchen. So don't talk until I get over there because that part I can assure you is gonna get fun. I don't need anybody to see me hoisting
She doesn't want to show her badonk
or anything else. All right.
saying the names of these bad people.
Go ahead. You don't. Okay.
So I'm just going to use their first initial, B and C.
B and C.
B and
So there's
C.
two people.
There's two people.
Two meanings.
There's two bad people.
Two bad guys.
B and C.
Bad people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these B and C ass people were in prison in Kentucky in October of 2002.
Mm-hmm.
B was in there because he had been writing some bad checks
Mm.
and he had a pending child abuse case. Bad.
No, not a nice guy.
And these two slugs, B and C, they were roommates.
That's bad
They
news.
were roommate inmates. On November 3rd, 2002, at around 6:30 in the evening,
Mm-hmm.
one of the jailers let these two slugs out into the outdoor recreation area.
Okay.
All right? And then she got real busy with some other inmates, maybe acting up.
No.
She got real busy.
No, you don't get busy when you can't do that.
She got busy. I don't know what to tell you. And then she didn't get back to them until like 8 o'clock. And usually, what is it, like an hour?
I thought an
30
hour.
minutes, whatever, depending on.
They
good
certainly
days or
should not be
whatever.
left unsupervised.
Right. But by then, by the time she went back at 8 o'clock, they were gone.
Oh, really? So they had taken themselves back to their jail
They
cell?
just went, they knew the rules, so they went inside and just went back to bed. That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true. I made that part up.
That would have been the end of the story.
Goodbye. No, as a matter of fact, they had let themselves into the indoor part of the recreation area and used some blankets and sheets.
Uh-huh.
They tied those together as a rope and climbed through the ceiling and found their way to freedom. Yes, they escaped. They
That's
escaped that
so
jail
lovely.
in Kentucky. Yes.
Good for them.
By the 5th of November, they had stolen a truck and were headed to Indiana to meet up with a woman who he knew. He met this woman while he was in jail in Indiana.
Was she in jail
She was
too?
not in jail. She was not. She was a correctional officer. Her name was Tina. And she had been a correctional officer and they had met in Indiana and I guess had become friends.
Okay.
Friendly.
Okay.
Now, Tina had a roommate named Andrea. And B and C and Andrea and Tina hooked up and decided they were going to get a hoe and tail.
Did Tina know that they had helped themselves out of prison?
You know, I'm not really sure what Tina knew.
Okay.
I don't know if they just showed up. Well, she had to have known. She had to have known.
Oh yeah, because she met him when he was in prison.
in Indiana. Now he's in prison in Kentucky.
Okay, well maybe.
But somehow he had to have her address and figure out how to get
Yeah.
in touch with her.
And and I'm thinking maybe she thought he just got out, like not escaped, but like he just got let out.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know, but yeah, that was not part of my investigation.
Okay, sorry.
Relationship.
I'm so sorry to bring that up.
And I did not see that in the court records, though they may have been in the beginning. I'm not sure if anybody ever did anything about that, but all right. So Tina, Andrea, B, and C now have gotten themselves a hotel room, and while they're there at the hotel, C tells Tina that he had escaped from prison. There we go. Because he was worried that he would get a long sentence on that child abuse case.
So just escape? And that just solves all your problems?
Yeah, he's like, I'm out of here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh my.
I'm sorry.
She's now putting the batter in the pan.
I am putting the batter in the pan, and I just needed to.
And she's banging the spoon on the side of the.
And it didn't help because it's the batter's a little thick.
It's thick, okay.
So
Have you folded in the pecans?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to dump this sucker right in the oven.
Okay, so she's folded and she's placed things in the pan.
Wait, I have
combined, folded, and panned, and now she's gonna stick it in the oven.
Now I'm gonna oven shove it.
She's gonna shove it in the oven.
Yes, because that's what we do. We've been shoving things in our oven for a number of years now.
Okay, so he's asking Tina for some help.
Yeah.
Getting out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get drugged back to jail.
Tina, the former correctional officer, I'm assuming she's former. I'm hoping she wasn't current. She says, "Oh yeah, I know a dude. I know a dude. He got guns in his house, so we'll go take his gun."
Wait, we're just gonna take his gun?
Well, yeah, because why not?
It's illegal.
Well, so is escaping out of jail.
She's a corrections
And
officer.
aiding and
She's
abetting.
a law.
She's
a law.
She's a law.
A law personnel.
They made her a law.
She's a law
She's not following the law anymore.
As
she's not following
she's
herself.
not following.
I don't know what her problem is.
It's upsetting.
It's so upsetting.
Yeah, pick a lane, Tina. Either you're a good person,
Oh, she's picking it,
or you're a bad person.
I'm thinking
and it
she's
seems
bad.
that she's crossed over.
Maybe I need to call her T.
Let's do it.
Yeah, T and A.
Now you don't even get your name, T and A.
B and C, we're looking for some T and A. So yeah, they broke into this dude's house, helped himself to some jewelry, some of his checks, and his guns. Yeah. And then after the robbery, these four jerks drive Tina's van to Michigan. Now we're in Michigan.
So we've been in Kentucky.
Yes.
And then we went to
Indiana. And now we're in Michigan. Yes. So B and A, they got a motel room while C and T went.
Oh, okay. So they coupled up.
They coupled up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So C and T decided they were going to go to T's brother's house.
Okay.
Because they wanted to smoke a little weed and maybe get into some meth.
Oh.
So that's, I think that's what you do once you take people's jewelry, checks, and guns. You escape from
When
prison.
you're on the run.
You're on the run. Why not hit up some weed and maybe
meth.
dip your toe in the meth? That's a great idea.
So we've got two that stayed behind in the hotel.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck
We
they're
don't
doing.
want to know.
I don't know. I don't
We
want to
don't
know.
Somebody's been in prison.
Yeah,
We don't want to know what's happening.
I don't
And
know.
then we got another couple who's gone over to a brother's house to maybe get into some weed and meth.
A little weed and meth. Yeah,
So W and M.
exactly. Now the next day, these four yahoos drive to Ohio, where they rented another motel room. And while they were there, they went to the Walmart and bought some stuff with these stolen checks.
Not the Walmart yet. Now they brought the Walmart in.
Oh, enter Walmart. Any
Like
good
what I'm
story,
saying
any
is,
good murder stories?
It involves a
Walmart.
Walmart. That's true. It's either a Walmart or a Home Depot.
That's right.
One of them.
Yeah. So B writes checks, and later A returns the goods for cash. See what they're doing now?
Oh gosh, they're just getting deeper and deeper.
Yes, a 10. They're very naughty as well.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anywho, T and A go back and they're hanging out at, oh, wait, no. After the Walmart, they drive to West Virginia. So now we're in West Virginia. We left Ohio, and now we're in West Virginia.
We went to Michigan and Ohio and now West Virginia.
Correct.
So we've gone up and now we're coming down.
That's right.
But not the same way.
No, but what goes up must come down.
That's what I've heard.
All right. While the girls went back and hung out at the motel, B and C
At the No-Tell Motel.
at the No-Tell Motel,
Mhm.
B and C headed to the local mall because they were like, dudes, we need to break into some cars and see if we can steal some,
Why?
because we need money. We need money. We
But
gotta
they
have
just
money.
got money. They returned the goods.
But then they had the, well, how many goods do you think they returned?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening in this setup.
I mean, probably enough for all these motels they're renting.
that's true. They're
That
not
costs
cheap.
money. No.
How do you escape from prison and afford a motel?
Well, I'm assuming T and A took care of the first one or two,
Probably.
and now they've got to, pop in this back in 2002. Still, everything is
I mean,
expensive. You
it's
gotta have
probably
money.
much higher now, but even back then, hard to afford on a prison
Income.
income.
Exactly. All right, so these two jerks are over at the Walmart in West Virginia, and they're going to be breaking into these cars and stealing things. And they decide we cover more ground if we split up. Split up. You go hit these cars. I'll go hit these cars.
What a brilliant idea.
I know they're off doing their thing, and I think they also maybe decided they were going to smoke some more meth along the way. Not that
Get
that's a
outta
good excuse
here.
for bad behavior, but at some point, B pulls up to C, and he's driving a car. He's not just broken into the car; he is driving the car, and the car owner is in the car with him. With
Not
what? Yeah. The car owner is 19-year-old Samantha Burns,
okay.
and
She's
C,
19.
she had to have been scared beside herself.
So she was in her car when they broke into her car, and then they took the car with her in it. So they carjacked her.
I believe that she was carjacked. Yes, yes, and B is the one, not B, but C is the one that carjacked her,
Okay.
and then came upon B because remember they split up,
Yeah.
so it wasn't. Yeah. C went to grab Tina's van, and he followed B to a grocery store. So they're in separate cars, okay, where they leave Tina's van, and then they're both now in Samantha's car, and she's in the car. They then drive her to several ATMs where they force her to withdraw money from her account. It's unclear exactly what happened next, but according to court documents that I read, B wanted to take Samantha somewhere where he could rape her, so they drove to a secluded area. And then C says he parked a little bit away from where they were, the other car was with Samantha in it. And after a period of time, C exits the passenger of the vehicle, the passenger side of the vehicle of Samantha's car, and then gets into the driver's seat, and he drives back to where
The
his
other car's
counterpart is parked.
But where is Samantha?
Unclear, but he did say we need to burn the car to hide any fingerprints. They purchased some gasoline and did just that. They set her car on fire and went back to the motel. Samantha's body has never been found. I don't think so, because they found the burned car, but there were
No remains.
no
They were
remains in
found
it.
something
Yeah. So they must have done something
else.
with her body. Yeah. All right. So now we've got escape from prison, going on the run,
Stealing guns, jewelry, and checks.
and then writing checks,
writing bad
checks,
checks,
and then
returning the merchandise for cash, and then kidnapping. Well, breaking into cars,
right?
kidnapping,
Mhm.
carjacking, rape,
hmm
and
Murder. Yeah,
and desecration of a body.
yeah. And it's only November 12th, so they did their thing November 3rd.
Okay.
It's 9 days later, and
Yeah.
this is what they've done.
This
Yeah.
is how they rehabilitated their lives.
Yeah, I don't think it's working out, this rehabilitation program that's going on there in Kentucky.
No.
All right, 9 days since they had escaped from prison. T and A are still hanging out with them, and now they have decided to take their little fun times on the road all the way down to Little River, South Carolina.
So the girls knew what he was doing with Samantha.
I don't know if they knew about Samantha because the girls were back at the hotel when they did all of the
right.
kidnapping.
Okay, right.
the-
So
the
they
raping.
probably don't know anything about this.
One would hope.
One would really hope.
One would hope that they would not go to Little River, South Carolina with a couple of thugs that had raped and murdered a 19-year-old girl. In Little River, South Carolina, guess what they did? They got a motel room.
Because that's what you do.
They're all these motel rooms. That's what
They
got a lot of
they
motels.
just live in motels.
I mean, you can't sleep in the van. You're on the
Really?
run. Like, sleep in the van.
Damn,
Rough
be
it
uncomfortable
for a minute. All right, the next day, B and C go and break into some more cars. They steal some more purses. And then the group decide, hey, we need to go to the beach. So they decided to go to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach. They check into a hotel this time because, hotels are
more expensive
and nicer, right? And B and C take Tina's van and they go out to do some more stealing because it costs money to afford their lifestyle.
Yep.
At around 2:00 on the 14th of November, a man discovers B and C burglarizing his son's home in Conway, South Carolina.
Yep.
And the man, the man approaches. The man decides he's going to approach him, but as he's sitting in front of the truck, they're sitting in front of the son's house. The two B and C come out of the house,
Right.
and they've stolen some guns. They see the man I see you, you see me.
Okay.
We've connected, and the two jerks start opening fire on him. And the man quickly drives away, and B and C then follows him. They try to catch up because they're like, "Oh, we gotta get rid of him because he can identify." But the man in the pickup truck was too quick,
Good for
and
him.
he got away.
Can I ask a question just real quick?
Yeah,
Is anybody looking for these two cats?
I don't know. Yes, I have to. Yes, there have to have been people looking for them in Kentucky because they're escaped prisoners.
I just am wondering.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure.
I felt like that guard was a little lackadaisical, so I'm not sure. Was she looking, or did she be like, "Let's just don't tell anybody else"?
Let's erase their names and say they are not here. I'm hoping the person that came on the next ship was like,
where are these
where are
extra
these?
two
My
prisoners?
good
We can't
Lord.
find them. They're not answering their roll call.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure there was like an all points bulletin looking for them, but they're probably looking Kentucky and surrounding.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was national at this point or not. This is 2002. Today, there would have been signs up on the highway like look for this whatever.
Yeah.
People would have been reporting my car got broken into or whatever. So I feel like they would have, but it seems like nobody's looking for them because I did all of my research based on court documents because I couldn't find a lot of newspaper articles about what was happening during the time. But I'm sure it was like, we got to find these people because they're super bad.
Super bad.
Well, actually, they probably didn't even know just how bad they were because it's, child abuse and bad checks at this point is what they were in Kentucky.
And it's turned into so much
now
more.
It's turned into something terrible.
Yeah.
All right. So, according to court documents, after the whole chase after the man in the white truck and the white truck gets away, they then go to Walmart in Conway because, we need another car because somebody can ID us in this car. So we need to get a different car. Surveillance cameras pick up a blue BMW driving into the parking lot, followed closely by a white pickup.
Oh.
But it's not the man's pickup. They've stolen a pickup.
Another pickup.
Right. And it's C is driving this truck.
Okay.
And he parks in front of the BMW. And this BMW is driven by 44-year-old mother of two, Alice Donovan. Surveillance cameras then show that B gets into the BMW and the car exits the lot. But Alice doesn't get out of the car. So again, they have carjacked a woman in her car, and she's still in the car, and
they're driving.
And they're driving. Yes.
Oh, this poor lady.
As the car exits the lot, you can see that that C is following behind. So B is driving, C is following behind in this stolen pickup truck. And at some point, C ditches that pickup truck and he starts driving the BMW. Now they're both in the BMW. Again, they make several stops at ATMs and force her to withdraw money from her account. And after they've exhausted all the ATM withdrawals, because you can only get so much out in a day.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. They drive her to a cemetery in North Carolina where they took turns raping her. They re-entered South Carolina looking for a dirt road where they could leave her tied up, according to court records. So this would be their account because, of course, we don't know for sure.
Right.
But they say that's what their intent was, to tie her up
And leave her.
Yes. But when BNC,
But they didn't do that to Stephanie.
right.
So all of a sudden, this is their intention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But when they returned,
I call BS. Just saying.
BS on BNC.
And I don't even know where T and A are right now.
Well, I'm
but
gonna tell you,
they're worthless.
Yes.
Worthless.
Yes. When BNC returned to the hotel in Myrtle Beach, T and A are telling them the police had picked up her van because, remember, they ditched her van.
Yeah.
And they needed to get on the road, like get out. So fearing that they'd be caught, BNC head back to West Virginia. I don't know at this point if T and A are with them or not. They've ditched the BMW has been ditched. And we don't, at this point, do not know what has happened to Alice. We don't know. And I'm hoping that T and A don't know either, but I can't know that for sure. So off they go to West Virginia. They party for a little while for West Virginia, and then they head back into Kentucky because they're so smart, to a mall where they plan to break into more cars. I don't know why they're back in Kentucky. I still, for the life of me, do not understand why.
They just can't stay away.
I guess not. Why not keep going down? Like you're in South Carolina, like
Keep going.
keep going. Why would you go back to Kentucky? I don't understand. But these two are maybe not the brightest bulbs.
One would think.
And while they're in Kentucky, they attempt to carjack a woman and her 15-year-old daughter, but they are not successful. And the woman calls police, who then spot. I'm mixing up my B's and my C's.
Oh.
Excuse me. They spot B in a parking lot and they chase him, and eventually they catch him. Now, C is headed back to West Virginia to his friend's house, and he sees on TV that B's been caught. Not good. Not good. On November the 18th, C decides that he's going to hightail it to Indiana to take refuge at his brother's house.
Where the meth and weed are.
No, that was at Tina's brother's
Tina's
house.
brother.
Yeah, Tina's brother's house.
He brother.
There's another. Yeah, we got another
Now we got another brother.
brother in Indiana. Yeah, knowing that his brother's house is likely his next stop, they had the police set up some surveillance there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the police are smart.
The police are
These two cats not too
not
bright.
so smart,
But
no.
the police, they be smart.
And when he arrived, they took him into custody.
All right.
That was a lot. I know that was a lot. That was like a whole long thing. But I will tell you that Alice Donovan's remains were not discovered until January of 2009.
And this was what year? 2000,
2002.
2002.
2002.
Oh my goodness.
And Samantha Burns' remains have never been found.
Where was Alice found? Did it say?
Yes.
Did you get to that part?
I'm gonna say that if I don't get to that part, I will tell you.
Okay.
About that.
Yeah.
B and C were charged with carjacking, resulting in death, kidnapping, resulting in death, and using firearms during crimes of violence, among a long list of other charges. C pleads guilty to all charges, and he's found, of course, guilty on all counts.
Okay.
And they were both sentenced to death.
In South Carolina.
Yes.
Okay.
In South Carolina. That is correct. And that happened in September of 2004. Okay.
Okay.
Along with that death penalty, they were also given an additional 744 months for all of the remaining
744 months?
for the remaining charges.
How many years is that?
So divide that by 12.
I don't know.
That's a lot.
Like more than 50.
Right. But death also.
Death plus, let's say, 50 years.
Right. So we're going to kill you. We're going to bring you back to life.
And then
put
you're
you
gonna
back
serve
in
50
jail.
years.
You got 50 years, and then
Your rotting corpse has to serve the 50 years after putting you down.
correct.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Both men appealed their cases in 2016, and the appeals were actually granted in 2023 because in the state of South Carolina, guess what? Kidnapping is no longer considered a violent crime.
Yeah. For sure.
They changed the law. It's no longer considered a violent crime. So
I don't feel safe in this state.
look,
I don't feel safe. God, I don't feel safe.
no, we're out.
I'm sorry,
South
God.
Carolina, but we're
Sorry, FC, but peace to you. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Deuces. I mean, what?
right. So they were allowed to present their appeals. When I say their appeals were granted, it's not that they were appealed appealed the case, and the case
No,
the
no.
court said
There was no
you were
overturning.
good. There
It's
was
just
no overturning.
we're gonna
Right.
hear it again.
Both of them were denied. They were both denied because
Okay.
there was so much in addition to the kidnapping. But it's the way that the state had prosecuted it. Instead of murder, it was kidnapping and murder, because at the time kidnapping was a violent crime, so it made sense.
Right. And so how do they win an appeal when at the time that they did it?
I know. Well, that's why their appeal was denied. Appeal. I know it sounds like I'm saying their appeal, but
Okay.
appeal.
So they applied for an appeal, but they did not get the appeal. The court case was not heard again.
The court case
So they
was
did.
reviewed by a judge,
Okay.
and the judge denied.
Denied. He
Denied.
said, just go back.
Go
Shut
back
the
and shut up.
front door.
Right. Exactly. So they're still they in 2023 were still on death row
Okay.
in South Carolina. They were
Death row plus
two-
50.
Yes. Alice Donovan was a mother of 2 children, and one day she drove to Walmart and never came home. For more than a decade, her family searched for her. They went through a trial. They worked with prosecutors to find a way for justice to ease their pain.
Yeah, because when they finally found out what happened to her, it's just awful to know what happened.
Right. And
I mean, it's horrible to not know what happened, and then you find out what happened, and you're like, gosh, I wish I didn't know that.
Right. And families do work with prosecutors to
Oh,
determine, like,
absolutely.
do you want me to go for the death penalty?
Sure.
And sometimes the prosecutor's like, I'm going for the death penalty. But sometimes families will be like, no, I don't
We don't
want
believe in it,
Right.
or it's, we'd rather them rot in jail and think about what they did
Yeah.
and have a miserable life ever. And
Right. Exactly. Okay, Samantha Burns was 19 years old. She never had the opportunity to marry or have children. She never got the chance to grow up. She was leaving work at JCPenney when she was carjacked, kidnapped, raped, and murdered. It's just, her family searched for her for years. For years. Despite pleas from Alice and Samantha's families, and for reasons I don't think that I'll ever truly understand, our former president commuted the death sentence for both B and C before he left office. Both death sentences have been converted now to life without. They are no longer on death row. No longer on death row in South Carolina.
So they get life plus 50.
They get life plus that. Hopefully they'll never get out of jail. They'll never ever get out of jail.
That was the one that I did. The guy has already applied for mercy release.
Yes. Mercy
That was-
release.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the one. I didn't do him.
No.
Like I covered that case.
Yeah. Well,
Ooh, I
that's
just
really,
made
really
myself
creepy.
sick.
All right. So as part of the confession,
Yeah.
I can't remember which one, B or C, which one did it, but they did help police locate. They told police where they buried Alice. And that's how they were able to find her body.
They didn't say anything about Stephanie.
They did Samantha.
I mean,
they
sorry, Samantha.
Try to help police figure out where they had buried
never
Samantha,
found her.
but they've never been able to.
It doesn't matter because
No,
they're
it doesn't
horrible
matter. They're
people.
bad people. I mean, it matters to the family.
And are you telling me that T and A, they didn't get in trouble?
I didn't find anything on T and A. I didn't.
That's horrible.
I didn't find anything. And there wasn't, I mean, remember, this has been
I know. It's been a while.
22 years ago. 2002 is when this happened.
Right.
It went to court in 2004, so it's difficult to find court records. I could get the story based on some appeal documentation, but I didn't get the full court case, like a breakdown of exactly what happened. Well,
Right.
they didn't actually have a court. They said these
I know. That's what
Tina
happened.
and Andrea didn't have to testify,
Right.
right? Hopefully they gave some kind of an account or statement or something.
Hopefully.
It would be nice if they had been held accountable in some way, but I don't know.
I mean, you can't just do that. You can't just do that.
No, you can't just do that. That's bad. They're all bad. They're all very, very, very bad people. Bad. They're bad.
And now we don't get to put those two bozos to death.
They're not. And South Carolina we just put another inmate to death
Firing squad.
yesterday. That's the second firing squad death that we've had, because now our inmates get to choose how they want to die. And firing squad has been brought
It's been a
back.
popular choice.
It has been. And it really kind of, but I think because there's a lot of malfunctioning that's
Equipment
happened
and drugs. And,
in the past with
Yeah.
the lethal injection, that I think if they're going to die, they just want to, for sure, like, please, for sure, kill me.
Yeah.
Don't halfway kill me.
but
And
see, that's what I like. Is
then kill me
that's
again.
one of the things I like about the death penalty. And I know this is completely inhumane of me, and I don't care because it's murder and it's rape. So I like the mystery of, is it going to kill me the first time?
right, are they going to have to do it?
Or am I
again?
going to have to do this a couple times before I actually expire?
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's
I
some
like that
groups
stress.
out there.
I
that
want
don't-
them to be stressed because Samantha was stressed. Alice was stressed. Those
Exactly.
people were stressed at the most stress you can have.
Yeah,
And turnabout is fair play.
I
That's
know.
all
I
I'm saying.
have to say I agree.
Yeah, we don't care. We're inhumane.
We're inhumane, yeah.
Sue us.
Well, don't do that, because you're
Well, that's going to be a
you're
waste
going to
of
get
time.
a lot of debt. I'm just going to say
You might
right
get
now.
some flour and sugar out of it.
And
but
after my
that's not
statement
it.
about my 5 bullet points, I may have a job on
Yeah, you
like
never
next
know
week.
these days.
So, and I do have a lot of student loan debt. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
None of that has been forgiven or disappeared. I'm still on the hook for all of it.
I
And
think that one of your 5 bullet points, it should be, and I watched the interest pile up on my student loans.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing. And
My-
if somebody is an
My
expert,
bullet is, I
somebody's
continue
an
to calculate the astronomical amount of student loan debt that I continue. What's
yeah.
your numbers?
If there's somebody out there that knows how to
Any
to
loopholes?
figure out the whole, I'm
Yeah.
not looking for the American people to pay back my student loan
No.
debt. I would be happy to pay that back. Unfortunately, let's see, maybe 6 or 7 months ago, my lender decided to put me in forbearance. I didn't ask to be put into forbearance, so I'm in forbearance, and interest continues to
Yeah.
accumulate, but
Yeah.
there's no way for me to actually pay for my loan. So
This whole thing
I
is squirrely. Like
don't have
every
any
time I
control
turn
over it.
around, there is a new company taking over my student loans. I'm like, oh, who are these people?
Yeah, and since I graduated, I mean, I was in my late 40s when I finally graduated with my master's degree. And I started out and did all of the degrees, bam, 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 bam. So it was in my late 40s when the student loan debt came along. And I will say, over the years, I've accumulated $28,000 in interest on my student loans. It's on interest alone. Yeah.
Off that.
So, the payments are way more than my rent. And I would have never gotten a student loan if I thought that my payments were going to be more than what I could pay. Because that's not how I roll. But it turns out that they are. But it doesn't even matter that I can't pay it because they put them into forbearance. And I don't know when they're going to suddenly take me out and say, hey, you've got 30 days to come up with a $5,000 payment. I don't know when that's going to happen. I will lose my mind when that happens. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get it on camera because that'll be funny.
Oh gosh, yes.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that bread is smelling good.
That bread smells delightful.
It really does.
I can't wait
So-
for it to be done. How long do we have?
Well, we have about 10 minutes, and then we have another 10 minutes. We have 20 minutes if I'm
Oh,
adding
Lord.
that correctly.
I mean, I'll
But we
be
can just take a pause here.
okay.
We don't have to talk for 20 minutes. I don't have that much to say.
Oh,
And then we can, yeah. So, but in the meantime, we can talk about things like we have social media.
we do have social media.
Right. We have social media. We have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Those are the only three I can handle. I can't handle TikTok, and I can't handle X. I can't handle Blue Sky. I can't handle all these other ones. I just have to stick with the three basics.
That's it. We don't need more than that. We don't need more. Nobody wants to see us on. Nobody really even wants to see us on YouTube. But here we are.
But here we are. We thought this would help us grow. Ain't done nothing.
Okay.
But if we were consistent, maybe it would.
It might. You
We
never
don't
know. Well, and eventually we will be consistent.
Yeah, I know. Once we birth these two books,
Oh, good
get them
Lord.
out of the nest. Also, we have email.
Oh gosh, yes.
And we love email, guys.
murder.sugarcoated@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We love nice emails.
We really like nice emails.
Don't send us emails.
Don't waste
about,
your time
like,
with a bad, a nasty email or
Yeah.
mean email to us, because what's going to happen is,
delete.
no, first we're going to read it, and then we're going to say to the other person, did you read that? And the other person be like, yeah, I'm reading it, and I'm going to have to read it again because I can't get over it. And then that person is going to be like, I mean, that's really mean. And the other person is going to be like, I just don't think I can do another episode knowing that this person feels this way. And then it's going to be another month before we get another episode out.
But on the flip side of that, we could get a message from somebody that says, I'm somebody's mom.
We
that
did.
You talked about on your podcast.
We
And
did.
all I want to say to you is thank you.
We
And
did.
that's what encourages us to continue.
And that was huge.
Because it's not the first time we've heard from a victim's parent.
And that is,
And they
that does
say,
make us,
thank you.
that definitely propels us forward.
Yes.
It just helps us remember
Because
why we're doing this, and we're not, and that you're going to have naysayers, you're going to have haters. It's just the society we live in now. But there's a loved one out there who wants their person's story told. And
they don't
that's
want
what
them
we're
to be
here for.
forgotten.
We don't
They
want to
don't
forget
want
them
them
either.
to be forgotten.
Mhm.
And they shouldn't be forgotten.
No.
The murder of a person should not be the final chapter in their life.
Never.
It just shouldn't.
No, and that's why we're here.
That's right.
So we're gonna keep on going. We keep going.
keep on trying.
So don't bother with the nasty email because we're going to keep on going.
You know what?
And we're very set in our ways. I turned 60 this year. I'm out. I'm out with following the rules. I'm out with I hope everybody loves me. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
I
out.
gave up trying that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I got way too many things.
You can
I would
please
just
some
like
of the
to
people
say-
some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time.
Right. I would like to say if Big Balls is listening, I didn't mean what I said about my 5 bullet points. I enjoy them. It's a great time of
What a gift you give me,
reflection.
Big Balls.
It's a great time
What a gift.
of reflection for me, and it makes me a stronger employee. So
Yes.
I apologize if I was negative at the beginning.
I apologize for my harsh language that I done
I
used.
just was having a bad moment.
Just
Big
a
Balls.
moment. It was a moment in
So
time,
sorry.
Big Balls, but we do have a lot of respect for you.
Great deal,
Yeah.
Mr. Big Balls.
Yeah.
Love you. Mean it.
Yeah.
All right. So social media. We've got email.
We sell our own vanilla. We're trying to
Killa
ramp up that
Vanilla.
business a little bit. We're
Killa
gonna
Vanilla.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're
We
gonna
just
try
are
to-
starting a new batch this week.
yeah.
So
I
it takes
started
at least 6 months to
to
so
marinate, but we've got some.
plenty.
Yeah, we've got plenty, but we want more.
Yeah.
And we're still writing our second book.
Yeah. That's in with the editor right now.
Yep.
Or the is she our editor? Or
She's our editor.
publisher or
She's our editor.
Yep, she's we sent it to her, she made some recommendations, we gave it to some people, they made some recommendations, we edited, we actually
Added two.
added we took all the recommendations and we put them into the book, we
Just
stuck them in there. Yeah.
Shoved it in.
Yeah. Oh, book shoving. We're
Yeah.
writing shoving, book
Book
shoving.
shoving. And murderers can shove it.
Shove it.
So there.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
So yeah, the book is almost. I mean, you know,
It's hard to say where it
process.
is. We don't know. I mean, we know it's with the editor, but we don't know how many more times we're going to go through this. Like,
Yeah.
eventually, we're going to be like, order the proofs and let's look at
Yeah, and then we'll be able to say, "Oh my God, it's out!" And then everybody will be like, "Oh my God, we gotta buy it!"
it. And then we'll be like, oh my God, we have plenty of time to do all the episodes we want.
Exactly. That's right. That's right.
So we're going to just break until our bread is ready and we'll come back on for a little taste test online.
Great to go.
All right, guys, look at it. It's out.
Pretty.
It's pretty. And Anne cut it and toasted it with a little butter because butter makes it better.
But it does make it better.
Yeah. And I just want to show you all this. This is the Better Homes and Gardens Cut the Sugar magazine that I found it in. And let's see where this says display until 4/11. So we might have just missed it. Sorry, guys.
I bet it's online though.
I'm no doubt this is online. And there's lots and lots of recipes in here, but I'm going to try some more. But that's where this came from.
Mhm.
So
It's delicious. It's so warm and comforting.
now,
and-
full disclosure, I might have made this my own.
Mm.
I put a little extra vanilla in it, which I always do because Killa Vanilla. Can't go wrong.
Hello.
It called for pitted dates.
Mm.
I didn't add those because that's gross for me. So I added some extra pecans.
Mm.
So yeah, but yeah.
It's very good. Delicious. If you can't find the recipe and you want the recipe, send us an email.
Oh my God, that's all you have to do.
Yep,
Send
we've
us an
got
email.
that. We just gave that to you, so you should have it. Did you write it down?
.com.
murder.sugarcoated@gmail.com.
I missed it. Dang it.
And that's it. That's it for us.
Guys, we
We've
love
done
you.
it. We do.
Stay sweet.
Don't murder.
If you kill people,
We will talk about you.
we might write a book about you and it won't be nice.
Won't be nice.
No. All right, guys. You all take care. Head on a swivel out there.
Head on
Stay
the
safe.
swivel. Bye.
Bye.
This has been Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a deliciously entertaining true crime podcast. Like what you heard? You can always explore past episodes by visiting sugarcoatedpod.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook fan page and share with friends. Thanks for listening to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.